Hey y'all, welcome to September 1st, guys. Welcome. We are now in the month of September, right? August had a lot going on, right? Coming out of retrograde, 888 portal, everything that happened, right? So now welcome to September the 1st, all right? And I guess I should say welcome to the channel too, right, guys? Welcome to 1111 Divine Lovers, guys. I am the Lady Empath 1111. If you are new to the channel, then welcome. If you are returning, of course, welcome back. We're going to get into our Soul Sunday reading. You guys know I post these Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine messages on Sunday, right? So we're going to pull 3 cards. We're going to use the Twin Flame Ascension deck, right? See what we can expect coming into this month of September for those of you who are on that journey, right? What is the journey? It's just the journey to self, right? It's not a journey to a relationship. It's not a journey to finding your forever person. It's a journey to finding yourself, because when you find yourself, then is when you can find your divine counterpart, if that's what you desire. All right, so let's get into it. Like I said, I'm going to pull 3 cards for the Divine Feminine, about 3 cards for Divine Masculine. See what Spirit needs you to know going into this month of September. September is the number 9, right? 9 is about wisdom, right? I feel like we are now going more into a place of wisdom and also initiation, right? If you follow me on Instagram, take a look at what I posted on Instagram today. If you don't, it's the Lady Empath 1111 on Instagram as well. I talked about the initiation. So this month of September is the initiation. It's the rite of passage, right? You are now crossing the threshold, right? I don't want to go into that and exhaust this time. So take a look at the Instagram and learn more about the initiation that's taking place in the month of September. All right, so let's set the intentions. What is it that you, Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine, want to get out of this reading? And let's clear the energy. All right, guys. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so let's get Divine Feminine. You're going to be on the top row. Again, guys, these messages could speak to your internal Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine, or it could speak to you as a person and your Divine Masculine. Again, take it how it resonates. These are general. What's the first message for Divine Feminine, Spirit? What is the first message for Divine Feminine? All right, take me home. I love it. 1111. I just said that, guys. You know, the energy today has been really weird, but I love it. It's like a thoughtful energy, right? You know, some days I come on and I'm all hyped. Today is a quiet day. That's really what I'm getting. Like, today is a day for introspection. Today is a day to kind of get rid of the noise, is what I hear. Like, for me, guys, individually, my own journey, and you know, if anyone wants to do this with me, let me know in the comments. But today, for me, September the 1st starts my 10 days of silence, right? 10 days of silence. Of course, I'll talk, you know, I'll be on because this is my spiritual work that I enjoy. But for anything outside of my spiritual work, it's 10 days of silence is what I'm getting. Like, I just don't want to involve myself in any unnecessary chatter, any 333 on the timer, right? Any unnecessary chatter, any unnecessary toxic energy. You know, when you're an empath or you're just a spiritual person in general, you know, a lot of people tend to dump on you, you know, their problems, their situations, their issues. And I'm just going through 10 days of silence where I'm not talking on the phone to anyone. I don't want to hear about your problems. You know, I'm just really taking this time for introspection, right? Because why? You know, the initiation, right? We're at a threshold now, and sometimes you have to cut out the external distractions, right? Is what I'm getting. But for you, Divine Feminine, take me home, right? You're coming into alignment with yourself. And I feel, you know, we're at this way now. It's a pathway to true love. And what is the pathway to true love? Is you loving yourself, right? It's that internal love. It's you setting boundaries for yourself. It's you knowing how to balance out your masculine and feminine energy. And what I love about this card, number one, it is the 1111 card, which is that alignment, right? It is that alignment. But what I'm getting is that internal alignment, which is the pathway to true love. And it's really you, Divine Feminine, balancing that out for yourself, really truly discovering what that pathway to true love is. We're going to clarify with the tarot. What's the next message for Divine Feminine? Surrender. Yeah, it starts with surrendering. All right, this is the 1-1 card, Dark Night of the Soul. So even right now, Divine Feminine, I heard somebody say, but I've surrendered, I surrendered. You know, there are multiple stages to this journey, and there are multiple times that we're going to be called to surrender. You could be someone who's very connected to white doves at this time, but white doves really bring about peace. There's a peaceful energy that's around you at this time, and while you may feel like you're going through another, as I say, another, right? Dark night of the soul, you're just being called to further surrenderance, right? And we're going to clarify with the tarot to see what is it that we're surrendering as the divine feminine energy at this time. But I do feel like there are multiple stages to the journey. And at each stage, right? Remember, the initiation, right? At each stage of initiation, you are being called to surrender more. You know, there is never going to be a stopping point to surrenderance, right? There are always things that we're going to be called to surrender in our life. And I feel like Divine Feminine, even now, you're being called to the next level of surrenderance. Ooh, all right, Divine Feminine, your last card is 8-8. Speak your truth. Yeah. It's time for you to express yourself. A lot of times, Divine Feminine, we hold things in, right? Because we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to cause any turbulence in our lives and the people's lives around us, even in our relationships, right? So a lot of times we'll be silent, but Spirit is telling you it's time for you to speak your truth. It's time for you to express yourself. There are information that needs to come out of your mouth. There is enlightenment that needs to come out of your mouth. There is growth that needs to come out of your mouth. And it all starts with you speaking your truth. I do feel like in that month of August, right? Because this speak your truth is the 8-8 card. I feel like whatever downloads you receive during the 8-8 portal in the month of August is now time for you to speak about those things. See, a lot of times we hold silent, and because we're taking in the information, we're gaining the wisdom, the knowledge, right? But now whatever wisdom, knowledge, and understanding you gained in the month of August, whatever it is that you are manifesting for yourself in the month of August, Spirit is telling you in this month of September, it's time to express that. Speak your truth, right? And it's no one else's truth but your own. We'll clarify that with the tarot. Let's get the overlying messages for the Divine Masculine. What are the overlying messages for the Divine Masculine in this month of September, Spirit? All right. Wow. False twin flame, right? Intense change. Divine Masculine is going through intense change. When I saw that false twin flame, I feel like there's a Divine Masculine collective who've been surrounded by falsity, right? But it's really a false sense of who they are. Because when you know who you are, you will know or realize that the people around you are not who they say they are, or they are not there. So when you look at a false twin flame, guys, a false twin flame is someone who you thought was your true person, someone who you thought was your divine counterpart. But it's not until you begin to heal yourself that you will realize some of the things about the people around you. So for example, I always tell the story of how I was in a union with someone who is I now know to be my catalyst, but it was a false twin flame. And it's when I began to grow and when I began to walk in my purpose and my calling that I realized that that was not my true person, right? That realization can only take place though when you're on your pathway to discovering and realizing and growing into who you are. See, when you are staying stagnant and stuck in the situations that you are in, everything around you looks fine. You know, the people around you look fine. The places where you go look fine. Like everything looks fine, right? Because you are stuck in the same cycles that they are stuck in. But it's once you begin in your own healing, right? Divine Masculine, initiation. I keep going back to our governing card for the month of September, which is initiation. When you experience your initiation, right? When you begin to go through your own rite of passage and begin to cross through that threshold of what is for you, which is coming out of the darkness that is around you and going through that threshold of enlightenment, of peace, of tranquility, that is when you will realize the falsity or the false nature of those around you. So divine masculine, you're being called to intense change at this time. Now, again, if you are identifying with this message as your masculine and feminine energy, the masculine energy within you is being called to an intense change. If you are identifying with this message as an external divine feminine and divine masculine, then your divine masculine is experiencing intense change, because there's been a lot of false ideologies or false ideas that they've held on to within themselves that they are being called to let go of. The next message for divine masculine. Mystical messages. Follow the signs. Divine masculine is receiving a lot of downloads at this time. There's a lot of mystical signs. Their third eye is being illuminated like never before. The mysticism for this is really intriguing at this time. It's almost like experiencing something new for the first time, questioning if it's real, but knowing that it is. There's an intense spiritual connection that's taking place within the divine masculine concerning their third eye. See, the third eye is the center of divine wisdom, the spiritual eye that seeks to know the truth in all things. Rules our intuition, consciousness, perception, and imagination. See, when your third eye is in balance, you're highly intuitive, strong psychic ability, focused, wise, and insightful. Spirit is telling the divine masculine at this time to follow the signs. Do you know why we have signs, guys? Let's take traffic signs, for example. If we didn't have traffic signs, traffic signals, the world would be a mess, especially in the United States. Now, other more controlled countries can have roadways with no signs because they know how to work together. But there is something about the culture of the United States where we don't know how to work together. So we have to have these signs, right? And we have to be able to follow the signs because we don't have clear direction internally. I feel like divine masculine is being called to follow the signs because they don't have clear direction internally. So when you don't have clear understanding of who you are internally, you have to follow the signs. When the sign says stop, you stop. When the sign says go, you go. When the sign says yield, you yield. There is something now about the divine masculine being required to follow the signs, the mystical messages that are taking place at this time, because they are leading divine masculine to the initiation process, to cross the threshold into happiness, into joy, getting out of the darkness of where you've been. Follow the signs. The last message for divine masculine, Spirit. On the floor. All right, we have 2 cards. Wow. Brought chills. Divine masculine, you're entering a rebirth period. This is personal freedom being unleashed within you. You are that butterfly transformation that's taking place. But in this rebirth, it's because you're being called to remember who you are. There's a mask for divine masculine. And a lot of divine masculine at this time have been wearing this mask because you don't know who you are. And it saddens my heart to see our kings who don't know who they are because you've been wearing this false mask of identity of who people told you who you are versus who you're been called to be. That's why at this time, divine masculine is experiencing a rebirth, right? A rebirth of who you are. You're being called to remember who you are. And through this rebirth period, the mask is being unleashed. There's a personal freedom that's being unleashed and a understanding that you can do it. But in order for you to do it, you have to remember who you are. What's the mutual energy between divine masculine and divine feminine at this time, Spirit? What is the mutual message for the 2? Well, it's about you both embracing the feminine energy of who you are and activating your higher self, feminine twin. Right? Feminine twin. But the mutual energy is for both of you guys to embrace or call upon your feminine energy, balancing out your feminine energy, because the feminine energy is an activation to your higher self. What's the challenge for the month of September for my divine feminine and divine masculine? What is the challenge going into the month of September? change. Mastering your alchemy, violet flame activation. Violet flame activation is going to be your challenge or obstacle going into the month of September. Why? Because it's going to require you to change. But it's also requiring you to remember that you are the master alchemist, right? You are the master alchemist. All right. So that is the general overview of what we're about to get into. If you want to continue on with me, make sure that you hit the like button. If you're going to leave me here, right, at least give me a like. All right. But for you who are going to stick around, we're going to get into the tarot, right? We're going to clarify each of these cards and see what the month of September holds for our divine masculine and divine feminine. All right, so let's get into it. Divine feminine. Your first card was Take Me Home, Pathway to True Love. All right, Pathway to True Love. I feel like that love is your internal self-love, right? Being home is being one with yourself. 11-11, internal alignment. What does my divine feminine need to know about this Take Me Home card? What does divine feminine need to know at this time? Take me home, spirit. All right, we got the King of Swords. There's an internal truth. An internal truth that is taking place within you, divine feminine. What's the King of Swords? Wow, 8 of Pentacles. It's time for you to be laser focused on what it is that you're working on at this time. It's time for you to begin to water yourself. See, a lot of times we water everyone around us, divine feminine, but the pathway to true love begins with you watering yourself. It begins with you standing up and being honest about those things that you want. It takes you or calls you to stand up and be laser focused on what it is that you want for yourself and then begin to water that. The pathway to true love begins with you being unafraid to stand on truth, on honesty. Even when you're afraid to speak about some things that you may feel others may not understand, you have to understand that the pathway to true love always lies in honesty. And it's first you being honest with yourself. You're being called to put an end to some things in order to truly be transformed. You're being taken up. I see like a spaceship. You know how like in the UFO spaceship movies, the spaceship kind of hovers and then picks up the person from among them. You know, when I look at this card, I see this as a spaceship, as a portal. Thank you, Spirit, as a portal. And even though you're down here among the pasture, the horses, everyone that's around you, you're being transported. The portal is here. And you're going to be transported up. But this transportal or transportation is actually what I'm hearing. This transportation is taking place to take you home. Taking you home to who you are, which is the pathway to true love. What is true love? Unconditional love, the love of oneself. The pathway to true love is within you, but it starts with you watering who you are, pouring into yourself, standing in your truth. So in the current moment, you're being called to surrender to the dark night of the soul. What is this dark night of the soul, Spirit, for divine feminine? Ace of Wands. Cultivating that which you are passionate about. Cultivating that which brings you life, joy, illumination, prosperity, and transformation. What's the Ace of Wands, Spirit? The King of Wands. Standing up as the leader that you've been called to be and taking charge of what you are passionate about. See, this dark night of the soul that you could be experiencing at this time, divine feminine, again, is just your initiation into discovering your passions, into traveling the world, into embracing all of who you are and what you've been called to be. It may seem like you don't see what's coming, Divine Feminine, but it's purpose that way. I hear shot in the dark. You're taking a shot in the dark, but that's purpose for you to take at this time, because you don't have to be able to see where you're going. You just have to know that you're going there. That's what faith is about. So a lot of times, Divine Feminine, in the present moment, you may feel like the surrendering is calling you, right? You're being called to surrender, but you're asking the question, what am I surrendering to? Spirit is telling you you're surrendering to your passions, to that which you are creating for yourself. And even if you don't know what's on the other side of it, or even if you feel like you're walking in the dark, or even if you feel like you're being blinded right now, Spirit is saying, take the shot. I heard kill shot. I see someone as a sniper on a roof. You, Divine Feminine, are a sniper on a roof, but you have a blindfold on, because Spirit is telling you to trust your intuition. You cannot see what you're aiming for. Or you see in your mind's eye what you're aiming for, but you cannot physically see it because you're taking a blind shot. Take the shot. I see a sniper and it's saying, take the shot. And in taking the shot, you are surrendering to that which you cannot see, but your intuition is leading you to take the shot, even if you cannot see it. What speak your truth? Express yourself for Divine Feminine. Ace of Swords. It's truth. You're definitely being called to speak your truth and express yourself. What's the Ace of Swords for Divine Feminine? What is this truth that is being asked to speak? Ten of Pentacles. Spirit is telling you, Divine Feminine, to speak about what makes you happy. Speak your truth. Express yourself. If you want happiness, then declare that, right? No longer settle for things that you are not happy with. Like, you're literally being called to speak your truth about what makes you happy. Ace of Swords to the Ten of Pentacles. No longer settling for less than what it is that you deserve when you know that you want it all. You want the Ten of Pentacles. You want the family, the abundance, the wealth, the legacy, the building. You want it all. If this is what you want, this is what I hear Spirit saying. A lot of times we have to declare and decree what it is we want. There is power in what you speak. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. But see, a lot of times we are not speaking exactly what it is that we want. So for example, if you say, I'm good where I am, I'm happy, I have my children, I have my family, I have my friends, I'm good. But what you truly want is your divine counterpart, right? You truly want a union. You truly want it all, right? And it all for you is family, finances, and love. Well, don't say that you're okay with the family and the finances if you don't have love, right? There's something about you speaking about everything that you want, because a lot of times we are very passive about what it is that we want, and we're not standing up and truly speaking honestly, right? It says speak your truth. We're not being honest about what it is that we want. There is something here, Divine Feminine, about you being honest and speaking your truth and expressing yourself. And it has everything to do with your happiness with this Ten of Pentacles. Everything to do with whatever it is that you want. But I feel like it's like you saying, hey, I'm good with the Nine of Pentacles. I'm okay with the Eight of Pentacles. But that's not your truth. 24/24 on the timer. So it's really about you, Divine Feminine, speaking the totality of your truth, because that's where your balance lies, and that's where movement will come, right? That's the Chariot. That's when you will experience movement. That's when you will experience balance. That's when you will experience everything that you want for yourself. But it begins with you being honest with yourself that you truly do want it all. And a lot of times, Divine Feminine, we are very passive about what it is that we want because we'll settle for the 7 of Pentacles, right? We'll settle for the 8 of Pentacles. We'll settle for the 9. But what we truly want is the 10. We want it all. And Spirit is saying, stop settling for less than what it is that you want. You have to speak your truth and express yourself in order to truly have everything that you want. Let's look at Divine Masculine. Divine Masculine, you're going through an intense change right now. There's intense change that's taking place. You're realizing some things that have been false. You're realizing people, places, and things around you that have not been true, right? With that false twin flame. This is really about thinking or believing. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to make sure my cards don't get mixed up. I like this deck in the upright. If it comes out in the reverse, I'll read it in the reverse, but I like this deck. What is this intense change that Divine Masculine is experiencing at this time? There's an alignment taking place, right? The number 2 is about alignment. 222 alignment, false twin flame. There's a breaking free. There's a phoenix rising energies that I'm getting from Divine Masculine, where you're rising out of the flames of the ashes of who people told you were when you never identified with that. Have you ever told someone that, or someone has ever told you that, I'll take it for example myself. I can always use myself as an example. My mom told me growing up that she always wanted me to be a model. You know, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty, I want you to be a model. I never identified with that. That was just never something I ever identified with. I love it, I think it's great, but that was never something that I felt a drawing to. And I'm short, hell, I'm only 5'5". Okay, but even if I was tall, you know, that is nothing. I never identified with that. I do feel like Divine Masculine right now, there were a lot of people around you that told you who you were supposed to be, but you never identified with that, right? There was nothing that you could identify with. There's intense change taking place. Give me more on this intense change for Divine Masculine. Someone could be experiencing headaches at this time, Divine Masculine, because I just got a headache, like out of nowhere. Intense change, yeah. Divine Masculine, you're starting the journey. Literally, the Fool is here. You're starting the journey. It's not going to be an easy journey because it's going to require you to change. It's going to require you to rise out of the ashes of who people said you were. And it may cause people to look at you differently, but they can't identify with who you are because they never saw you for who you are. It's like someone wearing goggles and you're looking at someone through goggles. You can't see who they are. They know who they are. They can look at themselves and see themselves, but the other people around Divine Masculine never knew who they were, right? Because they were seeing them out of a skewed lens, not ever knowing truly who they were at the core soul level. The Fool card comes with death and temperance in order to initiate true balance. See, Divine Masculine, you're called at this time to balance your shadow with your light. And in that, it requires you to come from among them. There's a portal of transformation that is taking place for Divine Masculine at this time. That's what that intense change is about. And as Divine Masculine goes through this intense change, they are now understanding and realizing the false people around them. People who have caused them to be unaligned with their purpose or not aligned with their purpose. Now, this intense change may be scary, Divine Masculine, but you can't run from who you are at the core soul level. And like the Phoenix, you're being called to rise from the ashes because a lot of people thought that you wouldn't make it. A lot of people counted you out. A lot of people thought that they were going to leave you where you were burning. But it's when you come from the ashes, as this Phoenix, hold on, y'all. See this? Rising from the ashes of the Phoenix of who you are. That's when people realize that they never knew who you were. because you were never called to be like them. The hell? Where'd that come from? We as a chosen are never called to be like others. And when I can get my collective to realize and understand that, you will be set free. I know I'm not called to be like others, and I am fine with it. And when you become fine with that, there is a sense of freedom that no one can take from you. And it's those who continue to want to stay stuck and want to identify with people who you were never meant to identify with, is when you are set free. Because as long as you remain around people who are less than who you have been called to be, you will always see yourself through their eyes. That's why divine masculine is being called to remember your identity. You have to remember your identity, because if you don't, you will stay stuck around people who don't damn know who they are, which will cause you to continue to not know who you are. So divine masculine, at this time, you're experiencing mystical messages from the universe. Spirit is telling you to follow the signs. What are the signs? What are the signs for divine masculine? What are the signs that divine masculine is being called to follow? Wow. The Star and the Knight of Swords. You're being called to action. You're being called to action, to healing, to prayer, to meditation. You're being called to sit in your North Star energy, and your North Star is your destiny. So when Spirit says follow the sign, you're following the star, and the star is your destiny. You're being called to follow your North Star, divine masculine. You're being called to harvest that which you have planted. See, you plant seeds seasonal, right? So there's a time when you're planting. And when you're planting, what are you doing? You're digging holes, you're burying the seeds, you're watering them, you're gardening, you're taking care of. But now, divine masculine is not the season to plant. It's the season to harvest. And if you do not harvest that which you have planted, it will die. It's like, I'm picturing a cornfield, and the corn is ready to be harvested, but divine masculine is distracted by everything else that's going around them. So much so, the corn has started to die. The sun came up, it's too damn hot, everything is dying. If you miss the harvest, you will have to wait until the next season. And who knows if the ground will be fertile? Who knows if the ground will be fertile when you decide, divine masculine, that you want to try it again? Spirit is telling you the time is now. And if you do not harvest that which you have planted, everything will die out. And you don't know if the next harvest season, if the ground will be fertile to grow anything. Follow the signs, the mystical messages of the universe, divine masculine. Your third eye is open at this time, but you have to pay attention to your intuition, to your ability. You have to stay focused. And it's time for you to harvest that which you planted before it dies. So now, divine masculine, you're being called to rebirth at this time. Personal freedom is being unleashed. And you're being called to remember your identity. What's this rebirth, personal freedom for divine masculine? Queen of Wands. Four of Wands. And the Seven of Wands. Tuh. Divine masculine, Spirit is telling you your happiness is within reach. You just have to bridge to get there. There is someone or something that you are very passionate about coming in as the Queen of Wands, divine masculine. You could have a divine feminine, Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius, that you're passionate about this person. But this person was sent in your life to lead you and to guide you because they are your happiness, Four of Wands. But you're being called to bridge some type of gap between you and this person at this time with the Seven of Wands. It's up to you. This is the harvest that the universe was speaking of. You have planted seeds towards divine union, divine masculine. You planted the seeds. You watered the seeds. But you're not harvesting this union. And if you do not harvest this union, it will die. And who's to say that the next season will bring you fertile ground? This Queen of Wands that you have coming in here, divine masculine, is your happiness. Four of Wands. I don't know if y'all can see this. See this divine feminine here, right? I feel like she was sent to you, divine masculine, to lead you into what your true eternal happiness with this Four of Wands. But you have to build this bridge, right? You have to build the bridge that is going to take you from one area to the next to this, right? She's over here. You over here. You got to be able to cross over to get here because she was sent to lead you what? To your happiness. Divine masculine, you're being called to bridge the gap between you and your divine feminine. But first, you got to remember who you are, right? We have remember your identity. So once you remember your identity, divine masculine, then you will be able to see that you can do it. See, when you're wearing a false mask and you don't know who you are, you're not sure that you can do it, but you can do it once you remember who you are. Give me more on remember your identity for divine masculine. Six of Swords. See, the face of this man is someone who's remembering. They're like, okay, wait a minute. She out there? Let me come up with a plan. I told you I love his face on this card because it's like, okay, you thought you were getting away. Right? You thought I was about to let you get away. That's the energy that you are being called to embrace at this time, divine masculine, because when you remember who you are, you'll remember who she is. And then you'll know that this is your calm. This is your healing place. This is what you're being called to go after at this time. Ace of Pentacles. There's a new beginning coming, divine masculine, but it's up to you to cultivate it and grow it in a manner in which you know that you're being called to. And that may require you to walk away from some things, people, places, ideas. It's really you are being called, divine masculine, to walk away from this false identity. There is a false identity here. And you're being called, divine masculine, to walk away from that false identity so that you can truly cultivate this new beginning. And it might be a cold, lonely journey, but it's okay because it's a journey of healing. It may be a difficult journey, right? But it's a journey that is going to cause you to heal. And in a healed state of knowing who you are, you will know that you can do it. You can take the mask off. It's okay. You can take the mask off is what I'm hearing, divine masculine. You can take the mask off. All right? So the mutual energy at this time between the both of you guys, divine feminine and divine masculine, is truly activating your higher self, right? Coming into harmony, right? That's the 6, the number 6. 666 is a time of reflection. The number 6 singularly is harmony. There's something here about you balancing the feminine or either the feminine twin, you divine feminine, right? Maybe it's time for you to begin to activate your higher self, right? Accept the initiation is what I heard, right? Accept the initiation, because as you accept the rite of passage, divine feminine, then you can balance out the energy of this union. What's this activating higher self as the mutual energy, Spirit? What is activating higher self as the mutual energy? Six of Wands. Recognize the people around you. Recognize what is going on around you. Because as you do that, it's going to cause you to be able to create more. It's going to pull you into this creative mode of really wanting to create some things for you. That's what's going to allow you to see things differently. Take a look around you, Divine Feminine, and use what you see around you to create magic. Use your pain to create life. Use your hurt to create joy. Use your suffering to create long, unconditional love. New beginnings, new passions. And as you walk in those things that you are passionate about, you're activating your higher self. See, higher self activation comes when you recognize who you are and you move towards that in a way that is free. Free flowing is what I heard. Without walls, without limitations is how you'll walk into your abundance. There is something you are creating, Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine, that is leading you to Ten of Pentacles here. There is something that you are creating that is leading you straight to abundance. And Spirit is saying stay in that creative energy, because whatever it is that you're working on at this time is what's allowing you to see things differently. And when you have this Ace of Pentacles, you're also going to realize that a lot of what you felt or a lot of how you saw yourself was simply an illusion to keep you stuck and trapped. It's when you let go the illusions that you'll find new inspirations. You'll also be able to further examine why you felt isolated and why you felt lonely. But it'll also make sense as to why you had to go through that time period in your life. Because that time period in your life is what's allowing this higher activation to take place. And you need this higher activation in order to get through the initiation phase. See, the initiation phase is the hardest in anything. Anytime you're being initiated into anything, that's the most difficult period, because if you can get through the initiation, you've made it, right? And that's what we're experiencing at this time, is the initiation, the rite of passage, crossing the threshold. It's always darkest before the dawn, but it's the initiation phase of life that allows us to reflect on those dark times, on those periods of grief, on those periods where we felt stuck and we felt trapped. But then we also realize that all of that was simply an illusion to keep us there. See, the darkness is an illusion, because light will always penetrate darkness. But a lot of times we stay way too long in darkness because we do not realize that it's an illusion. And all you have to do is open your eyes and let the light in. But so many of us stay trapped in darkness because we're afraid to open our eyes and see. What are we afraid to see? That you're the alchemist of your life. That you create change for yourself. There's a violet flame activation that is taking place at this time within the Divine Collective. And as this violet flame activation takes place, you're changing some things. You're completing some cycles of life. You're being called to a period of total completion, rest, and fulfillment. No longer sitting in the cycles of life that keep you stuck, but knowing that you can rest wherever you are at this time, because you are the alchemist of your life. See, when you're able to realize everything that has been holding you back, then you're also able to realize that you can change it all. That's what this master alchemist is about. Recognizing the deceit, recognizing the hurt, recognizing the arrows that have been thrown at you left and right. And yeah, they hurt. Yeah, they penetrated you. They left you bloody, bruised, and battered. But knowing also that all life starts with you, because you are the master alchemist. And it just really takes you coming together to co-create, build things together as divine masculine and divine feminine that will ease the pain, ease the hurt of the betrayals, of the deceit, and bring things into final completion. We are being initiated at this time, divine feminine, divine masculine, and this is our rite of passage. But you are crossing the threshold into a beautiful reality. But it's up to you to walk through the door. Love and light as always. The Lady Empath. 1111.